Hi everyone, welcome to my 2023 Chess.com Daily Chess Championships recap video. Here's the first position that I want you to have a look at. In this position, my opponent here as black played the move d takes on e4. This was a huge mistake in the game. Try and see if you can find the move that I played in this position. You're welcome to pause your video to see if you can try and solve it, but we'll have a look at the solution later on in the video. Okay, so here we are in the 2023 Chess.com Daily Chess Championships. As you can see, there's my username right at the top. I've managed to get 20 points, which means that I qualify for the next round. I do still have one more game going on. I'm actually not doing too well in that game, and I'll show you how I'm getting on in that. But the reason why I definitely qualify for the next round is that the next strongest player who's still got a few games going on is this player here, Nomad The, but he still has 5 games going, and even if he wins all 5 of those games, he's still going to end up on the same points as I am. So even though I did drop a game against him, I will still therefore qualify for the next round, which is really exciting. I've never got to the second round of this particular competition. I was so close to qualifying last year, but didn't make it to the next round. In any case, we're going to have a look at some tactics in this particular round and look at some of the decisive moments that helped me get through this round. So the first game I wanted to show you and highlight to you is this particular game that I played against one of the group leaders. In this position, I've now just defended this pawn on e5, playing in some sort of Vienna Gambit style position. Here I'm down a pawn, but I'm going to be looking to recapture this pawn anytime soon. Here my opponent now put his knight onto f6, intensifying pressure on this pawn, and bear in mind as well, my knight can't recapture back this position because of this pinned knight. So now I castle here, which allows a bit of freedom for this particular knight, and black has got a few little issues here. He can't just start swapping off everything and then think he can capture a pawn here, as after moves such as this, capturing the knight, he falls into this skewer here. So black definitely doesn't want to do something like this. So instead, here in this position, my opponent played, I would say, not a great move. In this position, in conceding the center to me, he now plays the move knight to h5. Not a great move. I'm assuming my opponent was trying to passively hold on to this pawn on f5 and maintain his pawn advantage. The problem with this move is quite simple. This knight here was doing a great job in defending in this d5 square. So with it coming to h5 now, I now play the powerful counter knight to d5. This not only hits the bishop, but also hits the queen. There's a big problem now for black. He needs to try and hold on to this bishop, but he also needs to defend this c7 square, which explains his next move, which is queen to d6. It says a mistake on the engine, but to be totally honest with you, I don't really know what else black could do in this position without losing a lot of material. So after he played queen to d6, I played the move c4. This just has a simple threat of pushing my pawn forward, then be able to capture on c7, deflecting the queen away from the defense of the pawn. Here he moved his queen far away to get out of the danger, but of course this now drops the c7 pawn. Here he played his king across, and I now banked on my advantage and now up a rook in this position. Here my opponent played queen to d6, not a brilliant move. I guess he was trying to regain some of his material that he'd lost on a8. After e5, kicking the queen to b8, I now push forward, gaining a lot of space in the centre, and I'm ready to start delivering a fast attack against the uncastled king. Now he puts his other knight far away from the centre. We're often taught knights in the rim are dim, and here they are definitely not making any impact on black's position in being able to defend this position. Now I play the move knight to g5, which is a very powerful move. I'm not only threatening to fork the king and the rook, but I'm also setting up a discovered attack on the knight on h5. He played his king to e7, at least defending one of the threats, but this obviously drops this knight on h5. g6 is played, kicking the queen at the very least, but now I play the move queen to h4. Queen took on a8, and now I want you to try and pause your video and try and find the move that I played in this position that allowed me to have a very, very strong attack. So here I played the move knight to e6 with check, and there's so many problems here for black to face. If he tries to block it with a pawn, I just simply recapture with the queen, and there's no other moves that black can do in this position. His only legal move after, well, maybe kind of f6 here in this position, but this would obviously just be captured as well. So if he just now plays king to e8, which is what he did, after I threw in this discovered a check, I can now win the game in one move with the very nice queen to d8 checkmate, a beautiful knight and queen checkmate. So this was a very nice win from me, and some very nice tactics, discovery tactics, that I was able to use to dominate my opponent. Here's the other game that I've got against this particular player. Very interestingly, I decided to start with a Hirschstrom gambit with g5. Not a great opening, but I thought I'd have a bit of fun with it in correspondence chess. Here he took on g5, and after e5 he played an immediate mistake with the move e4. Now at this position, obviously I took the knight here on g5. He'd obviously must have missed this particular attack, and now after he played the move knight to c3, I thought I was doing really, really well in this particular position. Now I will say that this game is still ongoing, so I'm not going to go straight ahead to the final position, but I wanted to have a look at this particularly bad move from me in this position. So here I've actually played the move bishop to c5, a pretty terrible move, as this now allows a very powerful tactic. See if you can solve it, that got white back into this position. Here he played the move d5, really nice move, as this not only hits the bishop but opens up a discovered attack against the queen. Well, let's put it this way, I did not play the best move. I think I played this move when I was at work, so I was perhaps not as focused as I would normally be for this particular daily game, as here I decided to capture here on d4, and of course realized to my horror what happened after bishop takes here on g5. So this game is still ongoing. I'm still actually fighting on. I'm doing okay now. I've managed to recover some of the material, but I'm still in a losing position. Thankfully, this result of this particular game doesn't matter so much, but I thought it would be funny to show you this one, and I'll hopefully do a recap on this game when it's finished. Here's another position that I wanted to show you. Unfortunately, my opponent actually timed out in this particular one, but after the move queen to e6 with check, I blocked with e2, and I wanted to focus a little bit on this move that my opponent played, which was knight to a5. I'm guessing he did this because he was worried about the potential forking move with d5, but this of course loses to a very good tactic. See if you can find it's quite a simple tactic to win some material. So in this one I played the move queen to a4 with check, a very nice move. The problem with this is now this knight is being forked as part of this check, so he now moved his knight back to c6, but this of course still loses as it allows the move d5 to be played, a very nice follow-up move that now forks both the queen and the knight, and well, this knight can't go anywhere because it's pinned, so he decided to move his queen to e4 to try and get some counterplay, maybe have just putting his queen in just an annoying place, but it didn't matter as I now took here on d6. And well, the game actually finished with b6 and castle, and then unfortunately my opponent then he actually just timed out in this position. There is an interesting tactic for you to try and a bonus one to see if you can solve. If the queen takes here, what's the issue? Well, with the king being uncastled, you can actually win this queen with rook to e1. So a nice little tactic to finish off here. Okay, so we return back to this particular position that I had against one of the other leaders of my group. I'm going to go back a few moves just to show you how we reached this position. So a kind of interesting moment was this g5 break that I went for to try and put a bit of pressure onto the black king. There's a lot of issues for black in this position, namely I've got a lot of pieces that are kind of on this side of the board. I've got these pawns that are pointing to the black king side as well. So positionally I'm doing really well. Here he then took here on g5, which allows my bishop to come into play for basically free. I get free tempo getting here, which now connects these two rooks. I'm not too worried about my king being exposed here because I've got all the initiative against his black king. That's not that much safer than mine. So he played b5 here, hitting the bishop, but I just now moved my bishop into this very nice square. It's controlling a lot of good squares and also being anchored by this f5 pawn. Okay, queen to c7 was then played. And now I played the move queen to h5. Here he tried to open up the centre with d5. I put my bishop back to sort of kick away and get rid of any counterplay. And now I push my rook to f2. I'm going to be looking to maybe get it over to h2 to then start attacking the black king. But after d takes an e4, I realised I didn't need to even have to do this, as I had another plan in mind to play in this position. See if you're able to solve it. The move, a spectacular move here, was the move queen takes on h7. A very nice move, as well it cracks open the black king. There's nothing he can do in this position. He actually took here on h7, and the point here is I can now checkmate on h2. Really annoying though. What he did after he took the queen, he then actually resigns. He didn't even let me have the satisfaction of this particular win, but there we go, a nice interesting tactic there. Here's another position. This was against the other leader of the group, and well, hopefully he also qualifies here. In this position, my opponent played rook to d4. He's not doing very well in this particular position, by the way. He's down a rook. Here I played the move bishop to d6, and after knight comes to c4, just hitting this bishop. Can you find the move that wins on the spot? Yep, it is the move bishop to c5, which now pins his rook to his king. Very good move. He now played king to e3. I actually could have done a much stronger move here. I actually just took this and then I realised afterwards I had a much better move. And hopefully you can find the next strong move. So a kind of tip when you get these pins that look a little bit like this, it's always good to re-attack the pins. So actually a better move would have been perhaps the move rook to d8, as this would have picked up even more material. After he moved his king, let's say, I can then do stuff like this, and this is just a totally winning position. I could even be really cheeky and take the knight here, and yeah, this is totally winning now because I'm going to pick up these pawns very easily and then win this position. So another little tactic to show to how to kind of get a good position. But it wasn't all plain sailing. In fact, some of the tactics that I used in this particular tournament backfired massively. And, well, this is one of the positions where this happened. Here in this position, my opponent played e5. Of course, you've got to capture en passant. And I like now that on chess.com, it's got actually what that move is, by the way. So if you ever wondered, well, how does that move work? Well, there you go. There's en passant. It tells you what it is. Here, my opponent played queen takes on e6, and I moved my king to f1. I had a simple threat of just putting my rook onto this open file to pin, skewer this queen to the king. So now bishop to e7 was played. I put my rook onto e1, and his queen ran over to b6. Now I thought I had a beautiful attack here, a beautiful tactic. It did start off well. I captured here on d7, and after king takes on d7, the move that I should have played was the strong knight to d5, and this is just totally winning basically. I'm forking everything, and yeah, it's a very bad position. His king is totally exposed here in this position, and even like little spite checks I don't think really work. I can just move my king away. But here, what I did instead, that was perhaps not the strongest of moves. I decided to play the move rook takes on e7. Oops. Now here's my thought process. King takes, Wow, what an amazing move. Would have been awesome. I would have shown this as a highlight reel and been like, yeah, look at this cool combination I had. But there's a problem. Oops. He takes here on e7, and I'm actually just totally losing. I'm down down an exchange in this position. His king's going to get safe very quickly. The game didn't last too much longer. I just threw in a few checks to see what will happen, but I've already got a pretty poor position here. b3 was played because obviously I wanted to try and keep my material on. Queen to a6, I moved my king to g1. I thought maybe I could tuck it away here and do some stuff, but after he tried to throw in some trades, I then tried to run my king away. He now gets his king to safety. It's absolutely fine now on f7, and after a few more moves, I'm stuck in this pin. I move my bishop back, but it's totally lost after d5. I'm going to lose some more material in this position. So yeah, the tactics sometimes don't always work. Okay, so here's the final game that I wanted to show a bit of spotlight on. This is the position that I had against this particular player. I was quite proud of this move that I found. You can see here that I am ahead. I'm up 2 pawns material, and while a simple continuation would have just been swapping off all of these, but to be totally honest with you, I mean, this is a fine end game for me. This would have been easily winning. But I found something I thought that was a little bit nicer and a bit more decisive. So going back here, instead of this move, I found another move that was really, really powerful. See if you can solve that. I'm going to just turn that analysis off for a second. I don't think I can do it. Oh, well, never mind. So see if you can find the move that I played in this position. Okay, the move that was really good was the move d3, a really nice move. Now, this is the point. You'll notice that now this pawn is blocking the communication between the queen and the rook. So he can't just take here on d3 as I would just pick up a rook straight away. So that's the first problem. It's also attacking the rook, so he's got to do something about it. In the game, he took with the queen, but now I come up with another stunning move, rook to d6. A lovely cross pin. Pins everywhere. And, well, this is the problem now for white. If he takes, I just take back. And there's really nothing he can do in this position. Both his pieces are being pinned by my really powerful, really active pieces. All to do with activity in this position. So king comes to maybe d2, which is what he played in the game. And, well, after a few more moves, I pick up a few more pawns, and, well, my opponent decided to throw in the towel after I picked up a lot of his pawns, and he had a totally losing position. So, a very nice game, and some very nice tactics from this particular tournament. So that's it for my recap. I hope you enjoyed my round 1 recap for this particular tournament. Do stay tuned on my channel to see me in round 2. I don't know when that will happen. There are still quite a few games going on. You can see that 87% are complete, which probably means we'll need to probably wait for another month or so before I'll be able to compete in round 2. I'm really excited about round 2 as there is potential that I'll be up against some very strong players, maybe even some title players, which will be, yeah, just a great experience to play against, particularly in a format like this. So thank you for watching, thank you for staying tuned. If you like what you see, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and yeah, I'll hopefully see you soon. Take care, bye.